Hello, my name is Andy and I am the Village Idiot. I'm armed with a car and a GoPro and an unhealthy amount of time on my hands. I'm using that time to attempt to visit every civil parish in England. You're watching the East Lindsey series. This is the biggest district in Lincolnshire, containing 188 civil parishes. Without further ado, here's today's offering. Welcome back to East Lindsey again, everybody. Now, last week we ended the Goulceby episode at a ford where the parish boundary between that one and this one sort of is. It's a very strange boundary, as I'm sure you can understand from last week's episode if you watched it. Now, this week we're going to head out into the countryside. We're going away from this sort of villagey area and heading across a field. You can see there's a gate which leads into a field, and that will take us towards a church and a reservoir, both of which you'll find in the parish of Asterby. The East Lindsey series is sponsored by Gainsborough Cycles, 01427 617 752. For all your cycling needs, this is your one-stop shop, located at 20 Ropery Road, Gainsborough, or online at gainsboroughcycles.com. There's a link in the description. Gainsborough Cycles, ask for Trevor Halstead. Here's my disclaimer for people who may be watching me for the first time. I say things as I would in my native accent and dialect. As a result, I may not pronounce things in the same way as the locals do. Remember, I'm a visitor. It's impossible to know everything. Leave me a comment, spin me a like, and bash that subscribe button. Let's get to today's parish video. Asterby, East Farm. This week in East Lindsey, we continue where we left off last time. This is Asterby, which literally means East Farm, a reference to the former Danish landowner Kolkr. It was he who centuries ago made this corner of Lincolnshire his own, founding the village of Goulceby. His eastern lands would eventually come to be known as Asterby, and on this walk, we're literally going to be walking in the man's footsteps. Our journey around Asterby will take us primarily to two landmarks. First of all, this one has a small reservoir which is skirted to the north by a public right-of-way from Goulceby. Secondly, there's a small and now disused church hidden away behind a wall of trees and overgrowth on the narrow lane that marks the centre of the village. Asterby also has two notable properties, namely Asterby House and the Old Rectory, but aside from those, it's struggling for much more. It doesn't need to try hard to be attractive though. Pretty much in every direction, Asterby is surrounded by the beautiful landscape of the Lincolnshire Wolds, even if the rain and drizzle made it seem on this visit to be a bit bland. The weather is temporary, but charm, character and beauty are permanent. Come with me as we follow paths which Kolkr once trod around a desirable slice of this awesome Lincolnshire countryside. There's plenty of footpaths in this one. This sign's a dead giveaway. We start our walk just to the south of the ford where we left Goulceby behind last week. If you haven't seen that episode, it's linked in today's end screen. Effectively, this first section is the completion of Goulceby village. These houses, although technically Asterby, are much closer to Goulceby than they are to the area most people would think of as the main village. Goulceby Lane is a dead end that terminates at a farm, but thanks to those rights of way, this route is a circle. It just crosses a few fields rather than roads. Okay, so that's pretty much it in terms of houses, apart from obviously Shop Lane, which you saw in the Goulceby episode. So now we're on the first public right-of-way. We've passed through a farm. Purposely didn't turn the camera on for that. And the footpath has kind of disappeared, actually, beyond the farmyard. But Strava will help me out with that. This will go towards a reservoir and skirt the sort of northern part of it and then hit a main road. When we hit that road, we then take a left turn and head up towards Asterby's church before getting onto another public right-of-way to come back into Goulceby, if you like. So yeah, let's dig Strava out, see where this path actually goes and find our way to that reservoir. Once over the field, the footpath became very overgrown and pretty undesirable. Thankfully, I wasn't bashing my way through this for too long. After a stile, I came to a set of steps. These were pretty steep and very slippery. What they do, though, is take you to the northern bank of Asterby Reservoir. Now, usually with a reservoir, I've got some sort of information to tell you, like depth or capacity, but Asterby has nothing available. I'm not even sure what type of reservoir this is, but I suspect it could be for flood storage. There are several of those around Lincolnshire, and they're generally smaller than average. Yeah, definitely not the biggest reservoir in the world, and certainly not one of the easiest to access either. But it's a landmark within the parish, and of course, I've caught it in exactly the same way as always. Now, of course, we are on the reservoir's bank here, so we're up at a high elevation, so we've got to come down some more steps, like those ones I've just come up, which were pretty terrifying, I've got to be honest with you. So yeah, so we're going to head this way, and you can see there, the footpath continues. There's the way marker. That leads down to a road, which is where these guys are here doing some work or something, and over there somewhere is a church, and that's next on our list. The steps on the other side were just as slippery and difficult to navigate as the ones that led us to this point, but what goes up must come down, and down we now are. In front of us here is Asterby House. This is perhaps the grandest property Asterby can boast. The only other one that might rival it is the Old Rectory, located behind the church we're about to come to. Both are listed buildings. Asterby House was built in 1825, whilst the Rectory dates from 1863, constructed by R.J. Withers. A few more steps and we're at a parish notice board, and that's Asterby Visited. This is Asterby's former church, which is no longer open to the public, having been sold into private ownership. This small, early English building was dedicated to St. Peter. Despite not being in use any longer, the churchyard remains open to the public and it's still used for local burials. St. Peter's dates from the 14th century, with some alterations made in around 1900 by W. Mortimer and Son. It possibly stands on the site of a Saxon church. It wouldn't surprise me if this building was haunted, because in 1821, 3 human skeletons and a dagger were dug up in a field nearby. You know, it's almost got like a spooky feel to it, that church. It's clearly in desperate need of some repair, isn't it? But yeah, you walk in there, the overgrown churchyard, the ivy climbing the walls. I tell you, that is probably one of the most imposing, shall we say, churches I think I've ever seen so far on this channel. Now we need to head back towards Goulceby, because Asterby doesn't have much more than that, and to do that we need to cross another field, and this one's going to be a bit muddier than the last one, unfortunately for me, but yeah, we've got to do it because I'm miles away from the car where I am right now, so yeah, I don't have much choice. Our last job is to walk across this field back to Goulceby. There are no landmarks along this right of way, no reservoirs this time, but the views across the Lincolnshire Wolds are pretty. This right-of-way forms part of a 3.5 mile long trail you can do out here, dubbed In the Footsteps of Kolkr. It takes you through gentle farmland, quiet lanes and along part of the Viking Way. Kolkr was the Danish settler from which Goulceby derives its name. As Goulceby expanded, his eastern lands became known as Asterby, literally meaning East Farm. We're back at Goulceby Beck again. Okay, so you go over a couple of bridges through this area, over the various waterways which sort of crisscross Goulceby and Asterby together, and eventually you come to this bridge which I'm currently standing on now, and you can see over there there's a house. Bridge is a bit wobbly, by the way. There's a house over there, and this path just runs straight towards that house, and that is where this route will end. That's our route around Asterby. It's not the biggest place in the world, as I'm sure you can understand, but it's still well worth coming to see. But you've got to be prepared to do a little bit of cross-countrying in this one if you want to follow my exact route. Of course, you can visit the church and the reservoir by just driving to them and parking on the road or whatever, and not walking to them from Goulceby like I have. But even so, you know, it's still worth doing if you fancy a bit of a challenge. That'll do us for Asterby. Like I said at the beginning of this one, it's not a village in the traditional sense, but it does at least provide some seldom seen bits and bobs. Not a lot of people come out here, so it's good to put a place like this on the map. Join me next time for a place I've nicknamed the Awkward One. See you later. Thanks for watching this video, folks. Don't forget to like this episode if you haven't already. It really makes a difference with YouTube. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, and give us a share too if you've got friends who'd like it. You can find all the links to my social media accounts below, as well as my Buy Me a Coffee page where you can donate to the channel. Also, if you've enjoyed this episode, have a look at some more videos in this series. Until next time, I've been Andy, also known as the Village Idiot, and I'm out.